Hi everybody, Miss Karissa here, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about anxiety and what anxiety is like, how you can help somebody who has anxiety or if you have anxiety. So I hope I can give you just some tips and things and teach you a little bit about what anxiety is like. So we all know that we can feel anxious about a lot of things. It's kind of like feeling nervous. There's lots of different things we could feel anxious or nervous about. So some examples, maybe you have a test coming up. Maybe you have to perform for something. Maybe you play an instrument and you have a concert coming up. Maybe there's someone that you need to have a hard conversation with. You need to tell them that maybe they hurt your feelings or something like that. There's lots of scary things that can happen that can make us anxious and nervous. And right now, there's lots of scary things happening in the world. And we might all feel a little more anxious and have kind of that nervousness coming around us. Now, there's things that it's normal to be anxious and nervous about. Right? There's stuff that it makes sense to be nervous or to be worried about. Like if you are walking down the street and you see a dog running up towards you and there's no owner around and you don't know this dog, you might feel nervous and anxious about that. And that's a normal thing to be nervous and anxious about. Or if there is a tornado coming, that's something that it would be normal to be nervous and anxious about. But sometimes people feel really nervous and anxious and worried about things that we don't actually need to be that worried and anxious and nervous about. So before I talk about those things, I want to talk a little bit about what this feels like when we're feeling anxious. What does our body feel like? What is our brain doing? What are these different things? How do we know we're feeling anxious? So if you're feeling really anxious, your stomach might hurt, might feel like you have butterflies in your stomach or you're about to throw up. It might be hard to breathe. You might have, feel like your chest is really heavy, like there's somebody sitting on your chest and it's really hard to breathe. People might hyperventilate. So I'm going to demonstrate what hyperventilating can sound like so that you know what it's like. So, and that makes my heart rate go up just practicing it like that, just showing you guys how that would work. And that kind of breathing really makes it hard for our bodies to be able to think and to do the things that we need them to do. You might feel really shaky. Your hands might be shaky or your legs might be shaky. You might feel really sweaty. You might have racing thoughts that just keep going and going and going and you can't seem to keep up with them. Stuff that's just running through your head and running through your head and you can't get it to stop. You might space out. So some people that I know, when they feel really, really anxious and worried about things, they just kind of glaze over and they're not really paying attention to anything else. They just kind of space out. That could be a thing that happens when you're really, really anxious. And you might have a panic attack, which is kind of a combination of all of those things happening at the same time. And people who experience panic attacks often describe it as like feeling like they're going to die, feeling like that. And their body feels like it's going to die, which increases all of their panic and anxiety. And it just makes this big circle that keeps going on and on and on. So maybe this is something that you experience. Maybe this is something that somebody you love experiences. I just want to talk about it a little bit and kind of educate and see if we can, come up with some things that can help us work with each other and to help decrease our anxiety. So there's some stuff that it's normal to worry about. And some stuff that it's not as normal to worry about that causes us lots of anxiety. And these are things that we want to make sure that we're talking to people about, that we are talking to our parents, that we're talking to a counselor or to a therapist or somebody at our school about, to make sure that we get the help that we need to be able to function. So there's a difference between those things that are normal to worry about and the things that are not normal to worry about. Some people are really, really, really scared of leaving their house. It makes them really, really anxious. Okay? And there's certain situations when you leave your house that it makes sense that you might be worried about. But if it makes you really, really, really scared, to walk outside of your house, that's something that we'd want you to talk to somebody about. If it makes you really, 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 really scared and you feel like you're going to die, if you are in a large crowd, that's something we want you to talk to somebody about. Okay? There's things that people worry about and are anxious about and have lots of anxiety about that aren't what we would normally expect from people. It doesn't mean that something is wrong with you or that you're broken or anything like that. We just want to be able to support you and help you be able to function and still be able to do all of the things that you need to do. So if you know somebody who has anxiety and they tell you that they're having a lot of anxiety about something, some things you can do, just tell them, I am here for you. I am here to listen and to listen to them well. Don't try and fix it right away. Our tendency as humans is to try and fix things for people that we love. We want to jump in and we want to make it better. But sometimes we need to just step back and we need to just listen to somebody else. Listen and hear them tell you what they think would be helpful. That's the next thing. You can ask them, what can I do to help you? If they've been dealing with their anxiety for a long time, they probably know some things that are going to help them. And maybe they need you to help them with that. Maybe they need you to take a walk with them or to just talk to them about something to distract them. Maybe they need you to give them a hug. Maybe they need you to go and get them some water and some food so that their body can calm down too. Take some time and listen to that person. Ask them what would be helpful and then do it. Follow through with it. It's really hard to not jump to trying to fix things for people, right? But we want to make sure that we slow down and we listen. So we can also sometimes, when we want to fix things, say, well, why aren't you doing this or this or this or this? Because we want this person to be better, right? We want them to feel better. We want them to be able to do the things that they want to do. So we might say, well, why aren't you seeing a therapist? Or why aren't you taking some medicine? Or why aren't you doing yoga? Or why aren't you doing these breathing exercises? And put all of those things on them. It's okay to be concerned about your friends and to be concerned about your family and be concerned about yourself. But we can ask those questions in a way that doesn't make us accusing them of something. So we could say, instead of, well, why aren't you doing all of these things? We could say, I noticed that you've been feeling anxious a lot lately, and I'm kind of concerned about you. Can we talk about this? And open up a conversation with them. If this is something that you're feeling and you're experiencing, I would love to open up that conversation with you. And I'm going to put my contact information in the description of the video below so that you can reach out to me if you are feeling that way and you want to talk to somebody about it. And I would be very, very happy to get you connected with some people who would be able to talk with you about that. So maybe you've noticed these things about yourself or about somebody in your life. Maybe because of all of the pandemic and COVID and having to stay at home, you're noticing these things kind of pop up. And that's we really expect that that's going to happen during this pandemic, because things that we normally do and have all been disrupted. We're not able to see the people we normally see. We're not able to do all of the things that we normally do. And so we expect that people are going to be more anxious and they're going to be more worried. We want to make sure that we can support each other while we do that. So definitely check out some resources for anxiety that I'm going to link below in the description of this video, and give us a call if you want to be able to talk to somebody about your anxiety and work through these things. So I really hope this was helpful for you guys and that you can start some conversations about how you're feeling and what things you might be anxious about. See you next time.